Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Self-Made. I'm Grant Thompson.
And Kris Krohn.
In this video, we're gonna share with you our 4 ways to start building self-confidence starting today.
Boom. Now listen, if you're gonna start a YouTube channel, you're gonna need a healthy dose of confidence. And today, Grant and I are gonna share with you the 4 ways that you build greater confidence. And that starts us off with number 1, you've gotta learn how to push your comfort bubble. Listen, every single one of us has a comfort zone, right? We've got the place where we are comfortable. And the reality is that if you only operate inside your comfort zone, the confidence that you don't have that you're looking for is gonna be found outside of it. So you gotta get yourself in the pattern of pushing the boundaries and pushing outside of that comfort zone. Grant, how do you see that actually working in your life? You're constantly outside the comfort zone, man. So like, how do you see that building confidence?
Yeah, it's really like exercising a muscle, going to the gym, doing anything really. I mean, if you're not doing anything, you're gonna atrophy and you're gonna get inside yourself. So if you wanna increase your confidence, you gotta do something that's not natural. If you wanna get to a place where you're not at, you have to do something to get you there, which means change. So just taking some kind of action. I typically like to just think about what I'm afraid of or what I don't understand, what scares me and what's holding me back, and I almost take it on as a challenge to make that my next task.
And by the way, that one's worth writing down. Grant is dropping a nugget on you right now. Actually, that's one of the things that I really like about him is that most of us are trained that if there's something I'm afraid of, I'm gonna run. Grant does run too, but he just runs towards it.
And that takes me into the next step where you wanna list all the fears that you have and actually determine the worst case scenarios. A lot of times fears hold us back. It's the fear of the unknown. We don't know what's gonna happen, so we'd rather stay stationary than actually take a risk. So an exercise that I've tried, and I'd encourage you to try, is write down the things that scare you the most. And consider each of those things individually and try and work out what the worst case scenario could be. If you were to do these things, what would be the absolute worst thing that could happen? And then take that list and see how that would apply to your life. And if this actually happened to you, would it really be a terrible thing? Or are there modifications that you could make to live through it? Because I feel like once you can get your head around this idea that, hey, you know, the worst case scenario isn't really that bad, I can deal with that.
So incredibly true. I work with people that have this fear of what happens if I lose my job or I fall on my face and financially I fail. And there's a lot of people that live with that, and I put on these seminars, and when I work with these people, I really ask them, what's your worst case scenario? And you know what they always find at the end of exploration is that I'll always be able to feed my family and we're always gonna have shelter. And as long as we have that, yeah, we can go through hardship, but you know what? Maybe worst case scenario isn't that bad. Let's apply that to YouTube. You're starting a channel here, and what are some of the top fears that people face, Grant, when actually wanting to put themselves out there on YouTube?
I think vulnerability. You're gonna make a video, you're gonna put it out on the internet. Who knows who's gonna see that video? What are they gonna say about you? What judgments are they gonna have about you? Are they gonna treat you like a real person, or are they gonna make some nasty comments? I think anytime we open ourselves up to that kind of exposure, what we're afraid of is that we're gonna be rejected. You know, in reality, you're probably not gonna have that many people watching your first few videos, but if you look at it in context, if someone did leave a negative comment, if somebody did make a judgment about you, is that really gonna affect your life? Are you gonna let that affect your life? And on the other hand, what is it costing you by holding yourself back from taking that risk and putting your video up?
You know, that's the funny thing about this comfort zone and this comfort bubble is that everything that you want that you don't have is found outside of it. And so I love this second suggestion here for how to build greater confidence, which is, you know what, confront your worst case scenarios. And maybe in doing so, you're gonna find what Grant's sharing here is very true, that, you know what, it's really not that bad. And maybe if you'll allow yourself to open up your eyes and see what it is, you'll realize, you know what can I do even if I got some hate mail? What happens if someone doesn't like me? What if someone judges me? And decide up front how you want to deal with that. What is the most positive way that you can look at that?
Yeah.
What's the best way for you to internalize that and realize, all right, guess what? Because I'm going to tell you right now that if you are going to get into YouTube, Grant, are there going to be haters?
Yeah, there are. It's a natural consequence of trying to do something different.
Yeah, and not only doing something different, you could put out like the most good, benign content, like that is just good-natured and wholesome. And are you still going to get haters?
Yeah, you will.
You're going to get haters no matter what, because that's the world that we live in. So I think you got to be willing to face that worst case scenario and realize that I'm gonna do this whether people like it or not. I'm not gonna do this for the approval of others. I need to do this because this is important to me.
So accept the consequences and own them. Just choose to say, if I'm willing to take this risk, and this is what it could cost me, and I'm okay with that. And I'm gonna move forward optimistically, hoping for the best. But if this were to happen, that's not gonna discourage me from trying.
Exactly. And friends, that brings us to point number 3 when it comes to building greater confidence. This one is called pro bono confidence, right? This is called find somebody to teach. Pro bono is the phrase that we use when normally you would charge someone for doing something. And instead, we're just gonna do it for free. If you're gonna do YouTube, that's because you're going to put yourself out there doing something entertaining, educating. And you know what? If you get someone live that you could work with one-on-one and say, hey, I'm looking for someone that I can do some free coaching with, or that I can do some training with, or I could do some practice with for my YouTube channel, find someone that you can get with. And what you're gonna find is that the first time you go at it is going to be the most uncomfortable. But guess what happens by the 3rd round? Guess what happens by the 6th round? Guess what happens by the 10th round? I just went through this with my little daughter, Liesl. She was doing the science fair, and now she had to present in front of the kids walking by in the cafeteria when they came by, and she would just freeze. And so the first time getting her to unfreeze took like a full minute. But by the time we got on our 5th practice, guess what? She was rolling, it was moving, it was good. So this 3rd one is go find somebody to teach and offer to do that completely for free, because the real benefit that you're gonna get paid in is learning how to build greater confidence that you can teach, communicate, or share whatever it is that you really wanna do on YouTube.
I think you also find that in real life, there aren't as many haters. I've never ran into somebody that gives me negative feedback or negative comments in real life, like the kind of stuff that you see on the internet. And I think that's when you connect with people in real life, they see you for a person. They give you all kinds of feedback in really positive ways because they see that you're trying to help them. And when you're able to see somebody respond to the way that you're trying to teach them, there's like this mutual benefit. Because you're dealing with real people, you're able to find out what actually meets their needs and learn a lot.
No one's hiding behind a screen or a firewall or poking fun, fearing that someone could ever retribute against them, because the reality is it is different in real life.
Yeah.
It's a more positive experience.
And so becoming a teacher gives you the opportunity to actually become the greatest student. You'll learn the most lessons doing that. You'll address a lot of uncomfortable situations. You'll be proactively pushing your comfort bubble. And as you do that and you mutually grow together, that will bring you more confidence. It will also give you more experience, and that more experience makes you feel stronger, more confident, and will just lead to greater things overall.
Totally agree. And now we're gonna have Grant share with you the 4th and final way to build some amazing confidence. This 4th one makes me laugh, so I'm gonna let Grant do it.
So the thing that's going to hold you back is hesitation, fear of the unknown. I think it's important just to show up and just get into it. So number 4 is be willing to suck until you get good.
Be willing to suck until you get here first. Just be okay being bad at it.
This is some advice that I got from my friend Nick Smith years and years ago. He wrote a book, and his whole principle was like everybody has mistakes and everybody has to start somewhere. If you want to get to a destination, there are a few steps that start you on that journey, but you're not going to be awesome out the gate. So it's okay, just embrace it, accept it, just be willing to go out there and make a fool of yourself, be willing to suck, but don't give up. Keep at it, keep pushing the boundaries, keep getting experience, because one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, wow, I feel different. I actually feel like I've got this.
Dude, so true. I'll just share one of my sucks. I remember when I was just starting to public speak for the very first time, and I got up in front of my first live audience. We had 100 people in front of the room, and it's actually amazing how I got in front of all these people. And it was in the middle of winter. It was my first presentation ever. I was totally nervous, and I didn't know how to dress. I didn't know how to look. I felt so uncomfortable. And in front of the entire audience, I was telling them a story. And at one point in the story, I said, there wasn't a sky in the cloud. And everyone started laughing, but I didn't know what I had said. Just a moment of dyslexia. And all of a sudden I felt really embarrassed. And then afterwards my friends explained to me what actually happened and what went down. I'm like, oh, that would be really, really funny. It was like, yeah, it's like, and I still actually even make errors like that today, but I'm also just more comfortable being me that is a lot more expert at what I do, but still having moments where I mess up.
And I think what you're going to find is that adds the human element. People aren't looking for perfection, and when somebody comes across as being perfect, it's almost a deterrent because they feel like they're being sold something. So when you have little imperfections, when you start, with all these things that you do wrong and you mess up, it shows people that you're human. And I think what really stands out is the fact that you're trying. You're trying something every day to become better, and that will become very relatable for people. And I think gain a lot of respect for you as a result.
My friends, these are the 4 things that you can do every single day to step into far greater confidence.
So there you have it, guys. This list is designed to be something that you can go and start implementing today.
Friends, pick one of the 4 things right now and decide to do something with it right now. And remember, if you want to come and play with Grant and myself, you want to learn how to get that YouTube channel rocking, check out the website, the link below in the description, and we're going to get you all set up to get cruising and cranking.